Welcome back to All About Winning Daily Fantasy Sports. My name is Ty Patton. I hope you all had a great Thanksgiving and holiday weekend. Hopefully your DFS Sunday was profitable, but if not, never fear, the Sunday Night Football Showdown contest is here. Tonight's game features the AFC East leading New England Patriots, who come in with a record of 10-1, paying a visit to the AFC South leader, the Houston Texans, who come in with a record of 7-4. The Patriots come in as a 3-point road favorite, and the over-under on the game has been set at 47 points. This game holds playoff implications for both teams, as the Patriots can solidify an already inevitable playoff berth with a win, and the Texans try to maintain a one-game lead over the Tennessee Titans. Now, before I unpack this game, I want to share the numbers that are fantasy relevant to the Showdown contest itself. Up to and including the 3 Showdown contests on Thanksgiving, there have been 88 Showdown contests this season. These Showdown contests have an average winning score of 132.24. The average winning captain score is 42.62. Since the average captain score represents 32% of the average winning score, I focus a lot of attention to the captain's position. With that being said, the captain's position breaks down as follows. The underdog running back has been the captain for the winning lineup more than any other position, 18 times for 20%. The favored quarterback, 16 times for 18%. The favored wide receiver has been the captain for the winning lineup 14 times for 16%. The underdog wide receiver has been the captain for the winning lineup 12 times for 14%. The favored running back has been the captain for the winning lineup 11 times for 13%. The underdog quarterback, 6 times for 7%. The favored defensive special teams have been the captain for the winning lineup 5 times for 6%. 3 of those were New England. The underdog kicker has been the captain for the winning lineup 2 times for 2%. The favored tight end has been the captain for the winning lineup 2 times for 2%. The underdog tight end has been the captain for the winning lineup 1 time for 1%. And the underdog defensive special teams has been the captain for the winning lineup 1 time for 1%. Now, I actually took these and combined them by position, underdogs and favored, and it breaks down as follows. Running backs have appeared in the captain's position for the winning lineup more than any other position, 29 times for 33%, 1/3. Wide receivers, 26 times for 30%. Quarterbacks, 22 times for 25%. All others represent 11 times for 13%. The overall straight-up win record of the winning captain, or the captain in the winning lineup, their teams, is 60-28, which is 68%. And I broke that down by position too. Running backs in the captain's position, their teams are 22-7, which is 76%. Wide receivers in the captain's position, their teams are 14-12, which is 54%. Quarterbacks in the captain's position, their teams are 15-7, which is 68%. Do these numbers unlock the winning showdown lineup for tonight's Texans-Patriots game? Absolutely not. But what they do provide us is an edge, knowing some numbers that we otherwise might not know. And in the end, that's all we're looking for. Some of the main takeaways from those numbers is that the underdog running back appears in the captain's position more than any other position, 20%. One-fifth of the contest has the underdog running back. Running backs combined for 1/3 of the overall winning lineups. And the captain for the winning lineup, their teams straight up win the game 68% of the time. So the captain for the winning lineup, 68% of the time, their team wins the game. Now, I use this information as a big part of my overall process, which includes the following. This is how I build my showdown lineup. I take a stand. Who do I think is going to win? What is the path to victory? The matchups, the running game, the passing game. How are they going to get it done? The game, which is the game theory. Who are the players that support this game theory? Who are the players that are going to play an integral part in them winning the game? And then out of that group of players, who are the top players that have the potential to be the leading scorers in the game? And then I build my lineups around that captain by correlating other players and focusing on the right correlations. If I say, for instance, I have a wide receiver in the captain's spot, I want to have a quarterback his quarterback in the flex spot. If I have the quarterback in the captain spot, I like to have two of his targets in the flex spot. And that's how I build my lineups. Tonight's game features some very intriguing matchups. Tom Brady's facing a Houston team that has a number 27 DVP versus the quarterback position and number 17 DVP versus the wide receiver. The Texans are led by Deshaun Watson, who face a very tough task as the Patriots are number 1 DVP versus the quarterback, number 1 DVP versus the wide receiver, and number 1 DVP versus the running back. So the task is going to be very difficult for the Texans. The Belichick-led Patriots will probably attempt to take away, they're going to try to take away DeAndre Hopkins. That's their main weapons. One of their main weapons is Watson likes to get the ball to Hopkins a ton. He's going to draw coverage from Stephon Gilmore tonight. So he's probably going to have to go to his other targets, Will Fuller and Kenny Stills, the tight ends, Fells and Atkins. And the obvious captain for the Patriots, who's probably going to be really popular, is going to be Edelman's because the Draftkings being a 1-point PPR. When you have him in the captain spot, he gets peppered with a ton of targets. They're beat up at the wide receiver position. All of their wide receivers, as a matter of fact, have a questionable tag, including Edelman. I did see something before I started this video that all of them were expected to play. But you never know with a Patriots team. So you definitely want to check the injury report tonight about 7 o'clock and make sure these players are in. If any of those receivers are out, I would look at the kid N'Keal Harry, I believe. And let's look at his name. I'm going to make sure I get that right. Yeah, his last name's Harry. I would definitely have some interest in him if Sanu or Dorsett was ruled out. Now, perhaps I also wanted to mention that perhaps a contrarian build would be to use the running game from the Patriots because the Texans actually have a DVP of 22. They're actually worse against the run versus the running back position, which could be contrarian if you wanted to go that route, but correlate it with the Patriots defense. Their defense has been the captain for the winning lineup in 3 of the Showdown contests that they've been in. I'm probably going to go with Tom Brady in the captain. And when I use a quarterback in the captain, that's because I think, number one, I think their team's going to win. I don't think that any of the other receivers are going to outscore him. I think he'll spread the ball around. And I'm going to, the piece of the Texans that I want the most from this game is Deshaun Watson. He does add running, which we've seen what Lamar Jackson did to the Patriots. So I can see Watson getting some rushing yards. They don't pose much of a threat with Carlos Hyde in the backfield. They do like to dump the ball off to Duke Johnson out of the backfield. But I think a lot of this game is going to fall on Deshaun Watson. So with that being said, this is the build that I'm working on right now. And I'll get into my optimized build, but I'm probably going to go 2 ways. I'm going to have this particular lineup, and I'm also going to build one around the Patriots running game correlated with their defense. But this is my main lineup. I'm going to use Tom Brady in my captain spot. I'm going to have the Patriots defense. I'm going to have Edelman. I'm going to use, I'm going to bring that back with Watson. I'm going to use the tight end. I'm going to use Ben Watson. That leaves me 3,400. And I'm going to use Duke Johnson. I could have used, Akins. I could have used Akins. But I feel with this game theory, if the Patriots get a lead, That will phase out Carlos Hyde, and they like to throw the ball to Johnson out of the backfield. If they're getting pressure on Watson, this is a likelihood of him. There's a likelihood of him trying to drop the ball off to Johnson out of the backfield. So I have Brady correlated with 2 targets. Edelman, the main one, Ben Watson. Um, and then I have bringing it back with Watson from the Texans and the running back Duke Johnson. I left 200 on the table. It's not a lot. This probably isn't a super contrarian. I think it's different than I think a lot of people will have Edelman in the captain spot or New England defense, because if you have like New England defense, that opens up a lot of possibilities, and you can fit all the really good players in there. You can get a lot more done. They're 5,000, so they would only be 7,500 in the captain spot. So that'll probably be a popular build too. Plus, if you've done any research on this, as I mentioned previously, they've been the captain for the winning lineup in 3 of the Patriots Showdown contests. So this is the build that I'm going to go with. And again, and I've said this in my other videos, I'm not showing you my build so that you can take it and use it. If you do and we win and we stumble into a big GPP or something, we'll be splitting. I'm showing my process and how I get there and how I correlate my research to the way I build my lineups. That's what I'm doing. Now, as I always do, I take the players that I'm interested in and I use an optimizer that I have from a paid site. And with this optimizer, I don't MME, meaning I don't play like 150 lineups. I might play 20 in a $1 GPP, 20 max, or 20 in the quarters or something like that. Not because I have anything against anybody that does that, because it truly makes sense. If I'm ever in the position to do it, I'll be doing it as well. It just makes sense. And kudos to those guys that do that and build up the big bankroll and actually make this their job. But I do it because I want to see the different randomizations of the players that I have in my player pool, the players that I'm concentrating on. Because if I'm manually building, I'm probably not going to see all of them. So I use an optimizer. I set it for 150 lineups. I put just a few rules like I spoke about earlier. If I have a quarterback in the captain, I want 2 targets in the flex. If I have a wide receiver in the captain, I want one. I want his quarterback in the flex. I don't like to use multiple running backs from the same team, especially if I have one in the captain spot. If he's going off and the other one's not going to go off. And out of the 2 defensive special teams and 2 field goal kickers, I try to only use one of those, at the most 2. I focus on the kickers, and I try to, the team that I'm using the most players from, I generally use the kicker from that team or the team that is favored because they have a higher implied total, which means they're going to score more points. So that's just my basic breakdown of which kicker to pick. I will mention that the Patriots kicker is now Kai Forbath. Nick Folk had an appendectomy on Friday, and they released him. He's out, and so Forbath will be kicking for New England tonight. So for whatever that's worth, and he's priced up there. Both these kickers are priced up there. Fairbairn, pretty good kicker as well, so I like him too. And the implied total for this game is with the Patriots winning by 3, so both teams, 26 to 23 type score, or 24-23 or something like that. So the field goal kickers could get involved in this game. So as I always do, I always share the first lineup that's generated with my optimizer. I'll show you guys what it did, and that's what I'm going to do right here. And it had Edelman in the captain, Brady in the flex. It had Burkhead, which is the number 3 running back for New England. And you never know with their running backs. I mean, They could come out tonight and Bolden starts the game. You never know what Belichick's going to do. Had both field goal kickers, Orbath, Fairbarn, and Deshaun Watson. This is a pretty interesting lineup. I mean, it left 400 on the table, which was double what I did with my lineup. But I think Edelman will be popular in that captain spot. And if you think Edelman will outscore Brady, it makes sense to use him. I think Brady will outscore Edelman because he's going to spread the ball around to a bunch of different targets, and there won't be one or two players that just go off. Got Watson in there teamed up with his field goal kicker. If they do any scoring, it's going to go through Watson. So that lineup makes sense. And again, I show you guys this mainly so you can see the process that I use and how I put them together, and even how I use my optimizer. I really like the optimizers because I can see the different randomizations. And a lot of times it doesn't give me 150 lineups. Like this one in particular with the exposures, I set it for at least 2 uniques, which means I have to have at least 2 different players on each lineup. And I worked with the minimum maximum exposures, and it only gave me 143 out of a possible 150 lineups. So that's all it could generate out of the players that I liked with the rules and restrictions that I had. So I want to thank you guys for joining me. I want to get this posted so you have it a few hours before the game kicks off. I encourage you guys to please drop any opinions or comments that you may have below. Please share this video, like it, subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. My subscriptions have been trending upwards, which is a really good thing, and my viewership, so I really appreciate that. Hit that notification bell so you get notified when my next video posts. I'll be back tomorrow to do the Monday Night Football Showdown contest between the Seahawks and the Vikings. Another really good game with a lot of playoff implications. You can also follow me on Twitter at winningabout. Don't forget the injury reports tonight at 7 o'clock. Make sure you check that and before you submit your lineups. One thing you don't want in Showdown, you don't want it in any type of DFS contest, but Showdown, you're only using 6 players. You definitely don't want a 0. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. Good luck tonight. My name is Ty Patton. This is All About Winning Daily Fantasy Sports. Have a good evening.